What's on Your Mind is sponsored by ACC 339.0, New Style Radio 98.7 FM, Breakthrough Studios, and Reggae Jam Jam.
Good afternoon. How you doing? Welcome to another program in the series of What's on Your Mind. The program is produced by Breakthrough TV, and I am Carl. How are you? Apologize, we're running a little bit late this afternoon. I should say tonight, but remember this is a live stream. There's a lot of technical issues we have to do first before we actually get on the air. Let me say thank you for supporting the program. I want to say a big shout out to all of you. Also want to say a big shout out to my guest last week. Wow, Sister Marcia Anderson. Big shout out to you, Marcia. And I know you'll be back in the program very, very soon. Hope all is well with you guys. And how are you doing in the new year? It's February, and are you still keeping to those New Year's resolutions? We hope so. I myself, I never sort of really makes it, you know what I mean? But it's just how it goes. I must say a big, big shout out to my good friend Errol Taylor, my very, very good friend. Fantastic brother. Big shout out to you, Errol. You left me for Paris. And don't forget to check out our EP. Wonderful. I hope all is better with you. United States, big shout out to you guys in the United States. Jamaica, how you doing? Birmingham, how you doing? West Midland, big shout out to you. And big shout out to the whole of you guys in the UK. Send massive respect. The UK, as I say, big home. You know, fantastic. Also Canada, big shout out to you. As I say, let me say thank you for tuning into the program each week. Each week we do a live stream, and the program is called What's on Your Mind, and it is a program about exactly what's in your mind. I actually have look at a few things that's happening around the world, and then I carry on, and I have a little rant, and then I talk about what's on my mind, which is exactly what's on my mind. This week I got a wonderful brother, wonderful guest in the show this week, and his name is Adrian Nelson, and I'm hoping to pick him up here now. How you doing, sir? Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. Good to be on your show.
How's your day?
It's been awesome. Enjoyed every minute of it.
Every minute of it. And how's the new year going?
New year, well, it's going well. It's going well so far. Expecting great things in this year. So I'm looking forward to 2023.
Yeah. And after coming out of 2022, how do you feel the year has been so far?
Great. As you said, I'm approaching it with a lot of expectation that this year will be an awesome year. So, I think it's what we make of every circumstances and whatever situation life throws at you, you make the best of it.
Okay. Let me ask you, any hobbies? You got any hobbies?
Hobbies, I like to read autobiographies. That's one of my hobbies.
Marvelous.
Watch a lot of football, attend church. I'm a minister of the gospel, so I'm always in church, always either teaching or preaching.
Marvelous.
And I do have a full-time job also, separate and apart from that. So I'm pretty occupied.
Yeah. So, which is your favorite football team?
Team Manchester United.
I know you're gonna.
They're actually playing now, so you took me away from the match, but I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to.
I know you was gonna. I know what it's gonna do. In fact, I got a story about a Manchester United player. When I get to that, so Manchester United is included in the show because I always look at sports and I look at entertainment and I look at I have a rant. Anyway, let me move on. As you know, I look at a few things that's happening across the world, and the big one. The big one is we see a young girl was beaten up, at school, outside of school. This is in Ashford, in Surrey, just outside, a couple of miles from Heathrow Airport. And as I say, this 16-year-old teenager, she was battered, she was dragged, she was pulled, she was kicked, everything that you could have think that these people done to her. And the rest of the children who was actually doing this was being egged on by their parents. And one of the parents was actually shouting, "Kick her in the face, kick her in the face, kick her in the face." The police have arrested 5 people, and they're actually carrying out an investigation. And I'd say it is such a disgusting thing. I've never seen anything like it. You know what I mean? And the problem is, where is this girl's human rights? You know what I mean? Where is this young child's human rights? You know what I mean? Where is the human rights for this girl? And this is happening at school, just outside school. And if you see the picture, there's a footage of the video that's actually going around. You know what I mean? We can't share those pictures with you because it's absolutely disgusting and it could mentally affect you. You know. So we can't actually show that video footage that's been posted, you know what I mean? And also we don't want to sort of bias the case when the case actually goes to trial. And I say 5 people have actually been charged. The police are also looking for another person, and they actually said the next person should actually give herself in. And you know, a lot of these was actually women. And a lot of these was actually girls that was done it. And it was people, ordinary people that was walking past, and they did nothing. They did nothing to help. There was one man, you know what I mean? One man you is driving in his car. You can see the car, and he did nothing. Why the girl? Look at the girl in the pink. He's kicking. You know what I mean? He's kicking this young lady. And this young lady I think this young lady is actually an African, British African Caribbean heritage. You know what I mean? And as I said, look at that. And the man is in the car. He's not doing nothing. He's not even getting out of his car and trying to stop it. And these kids range from about they're in the early teens. They're in the early teens. And one of the mother was actually shouting, kick her in the face, kick her in the face. And you know, the other thing as well, we see the near the end of it, we actually see like what you could call possibly the school teachers. And the school teachers probably, you could call them school teachers because it was close to the school and they was all in a suit and they all like, you know what I mean, so in like, so they look like representative of the school. What they actually did, they come out like a stroll in the park. They were just like a stroll in the park. And they actually was, you know what I mean? They had no urgency. They had no urgency of stopping it. They just come out like a stroll in the park and a stroll. We're strolling to start up. And it's like they wasn't interested. You know what I mean? They wasn't. It's like they wasn't interested. You know what I mean? And I said, this is like a terrible situation that actually happens. You know, and I've never in all my days of my life, I've never ever seen anything happens. I've heard this actually happens before because I was talking to a particular lady earlier on today. And she was asking me if I've seen it. And I said, yes, I've seen it. And she said, you know, this actually happens to me when I was at school, you know what I mean? What are the school doing about it? What are the authorities going to do about it, you know what I mean? I mean, when I was going to school, I have to say that when I was going to school, if a parent or if a big person come, they wouldn't egg us onto fighting. They would break up the whole thing. They would break up the whole thing. And I wonder, is this just a disrespect for a lot of people, as you would say? Andre, I don't know if you're there. If you want to comment on this story. I don't know if you've heard of this story.
Yeah, I have, and I'm lost for words. I'm really lost for words on this one. I think disgusting really doesn't fit it properly because, you know, as you rightfully said, not just that we had young girls what look like early teenagers involved in this sort of activity, but there were adults around them who didn't get involved. I gather that the person who was egging the others to you know, beat up the other girl probably was the mom. But as you rightfully said, there was somebody driving a past. There were other adults in the vicinity.
Yes.
But also, I think the head teacher came by, and as you say, he came
casually.
Very passive, like there was no urgency.
It's a summer's day, so I'm walking in the park.
Yeah, absolutely. There was no sense of urgency. He wasn't shocked by it, and it's shocking to say the least. And you know, I don't know. Is it a reflection of our wider society?
Perhaps.
Is it a reflection?
Perhaps.
Of what's happening?
It's probably a reflection of what is happening. And like these parents, you know what I mean? As I say before, if your parents, when probably I went to school or you went to school, if we get into a scrape and adults see us, they separate us. You know what I mean? I'm not saying we didn't have scrap or we didn't have little fights. Not as bad as that. You know what I mean? And the thing about this as well. This girl. I mean, the girl hasn't been named, and I can see why. And then, you know what I mean? She hasn't been named. The only thing I could say about her is that she stand up. You know what I mean? Even when they had her on the ground, she never goes down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She stand up. She came back and she stand up on her feet. They never put her down. I mean, she get what you call a bad beating, but she's always back up on her feet, trying to get rid of these bullies or fight these bullies. You know what I mean? Because that's what they are.
Absolutely, absolutely. As you said, it is an ongoing police investigation, so I don't want to comment.
That's right, you can't say too much. She stand up, you know what I mean? Even when they had her on the ground, she never goes down. Yeah, you know what I mean? She stand up, she came back and she stand up on her feet. I think there's a couple of things actually going to happen in that sort of situation. You know, a couple of people are trying to do different things and things, you know, to make sure this doesn't happen again in school. You know, get rid of these bullies and fight these bullies. Ridiculous. That's what they are. Now, let me move on. Now, as you know, it's the big earthquake in Syria and Turkey, and at least 11,000 people has actually died, and a lot of people are missing. And the fight is on to rescuing people. You know what I mean? Even the rescue service has actually been digging with their hands, you know what I mean, to sort of rescue people. You know what I mean? Taking out women and children that's actually trapped under the rubble. You know what I mean? And as I say, the nations have actually, a lot of the United Nations and a lot of their friends have actually get together to sort of go into Turkey and to go into Syria and actually helped out. The other thing about Syria is that the fact that there's still a war in Syria. There's been a war going on in Syria for 10 years. You know what I mean? So Syria, even though it's bad in Turkey, Syria will also be always worse off than, if you can put it that way, than you say in Turkey. You know what I mean? Because they say there's a war going in Turkey. And we only a couple of days ago, we heard that somebody sent up a rocket. You know what I mean? The rebels somewhere in Syria actually sent up a rocket somewhere. You know what I mean? So it is one of those nasty things, and it's one of those crazy things that are actually happening. You know what I mean? And as I say, a lot of people across the world has joined in helping with that rescue. Andre, earthquakes are always terrible.
Absolutely, absolutely. But this one was very, very shocking again. The loss of last year.
Yeah, and
it was that you look at and you think, wow, we can't imagine what the families are going through right now, those who have lost loved ones. You know, it's just one of those things that really, really, really is heart-rending. I think the last count is over 7,000 between both Turkey and Syria.
Yeah. I mean, I looked at the figures just before I came on here, and they was quoting something like some papers was quoting like 11,000 within that particular time between both countries. You know what I mean? So that was actually the latest figure that was actually coming out. You know what I mean? Which is quite when I looked at it a couple of days ago, it was 7,000. And before I came on here, I checked it out, and it was up to 11,000 people. You know what I mean? Which is a lot of people.
Yeah, I know that figure will climb as the days go. So it's really heartrending, and I just can't imagine what those people are going through. But I think one of the things I did see though is that a little baby was pulled from the rubble. It seems like during the mother gave birth and she was rescued, which was really one of the most heartwarming sort of stories coming out of Syria. In terms of that. But for me, again, when I looked at that, it's just a constant reminder that tomorrow is not really guaranteed to anyone.
To anyone, you know what I mean? And it happens early. It happened Monday morning when people were sleeping. When people were sleeping.
Absolutely. So you always have to live each day like it's the last. And so, you know, again, for those who believe in a God like I do, you know, it's a constant reminder that we have to always make sure that we are prepared for the inevitable, because you just don't know when you will be speaking to your maker.
That's right. That is true. Thanks for that.
Because they were in bed, and while they were in bed, there it was, and the next thing you know, there they were.
Yeah, it's you just don't know. You just never know when things like that can happen.
So you always have to live your life that way. That's preparing. For what
wise words, Andre. Wise words. Yeah. Let me move on now. My next story is now we talk about that balloon. Now we all seen that balloon, innit? Now the U.S. has actually shut down a Chinese balloon, claiming it was a spy balloon. You know what I mean? And they actually shoot it down over the Atlantic. And the President Biden has said he actually tell the Pentagon, you know what I mean? They ordered the Pentagon to actually shoot it down, which they actually did. And it was drifting around in the United States for quite some time, and they didn't take it down. And there's a lot of reasons why they probably didn't take it down, but they didn't take it down. But finally they decided to shoot it down when it gets over the Atlantic. Now, The U.S. General, Air Force U.S. General, is actually warned, and he actually, in a leaked memo, he actually warned that war with China is coming soon. This is in a leaked memo. And he says within 2 years. And that is very, very, for a U.S. General to be saying that in a leaked memo, that is very, very strong stuff, you know. And we hope he's wrong, because if we have not, if we see the terrible suffering that's going on in Ukraine, so we don't really want to. None of us want a war, you know what I mean? None of us want a war. We don't see, and the other thing as well. I mean, China does occupy a lot, or invest in a lot of countries in the world, Africa, the Caribbean, America, even America. Some may say that America didn't shoot it down because if it was a Russian, America would have shoot it down. But America didn't shoot it down because China got so much things going on in America, all the technology that's going on in America. But if it was Russia, they would have shoot it down ages ago because they've got nothing to lose. Russia isn't like a big investment in America, but China still is. So it's a weird one. And as I say, we hope that general is actually wrong. Let me move on. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Yeah. Now, a devoted Christian mom who claimed her 4-year-old child was compelled to take part in a pride parade. And she's actually suing the school. And Lizzie Montague said the head teacher at the school, South East London, that her son could not opt out of the parade. And this took place in June 2018. So as I say, she's actually suing the school. And as I say, it's the first in the UK. And if we'll see what happens goes. The only thing I'm going to say about that is that I think parents should also have the rights, even though you have to go to school and learn the rules that the school set out, or in some of the school some of the school rules. I think a parent has the right to say no to certain things that is going on. Andre, I know this may be a very difficult one for you to answer. Are you there?
I'm here, very much here. Again, I think this one is in the courts.
Yes.
So again, I think be careful how we comment too much on this one.
Yes.
But I that I think every parent should have the choice to
That's
determine
right.
how they teach whatever they need to teach to their child. So I don't know what exactly happened in this case, but
Yeah.
I know for my little girls, when they were in school, we were asked the question whether or not we wanted to, for the school to teach them about sex education. We said no, because we thought that that's something that it should be left up to us.
That's right.
But again,
And let me quickly ask you, how old are your little girls?
the 5-year-old twin. At the primary school, that was one of the questions that was asked. But again, this one is in the courts, so I think it may be best for us not to comment too much on it.
Yeah.
But I think everybody should have a choice.
That's right, yes. I totally agree with that, yes. I totally agree with you, yeah. Don't forget, guys, to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Wise word from you, Andre. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now, a report has actually found that thousands of houses in England is infested with mold and damp. And this report was prompted by the death of Ishak, the young guy there, the young little baby there who actually died in a mold-filled flat covered in damp. And this happened February. So the report has come out. And as I say, the regulation has said a lot of the houses, social houses, are actually filled with mold and damp. And just when I actually finished that story, another story actually came out that the council is to get a lot of money to help and sort this out. You know what I mean? And we see how that goes. You know what I mean? As I say, you can't. That guy actually died of a disease that was caused, you know what I mean, by damp and mold in his flat. You know what I mean? And they say social housing for, you know what I mean, some people is just very, very terrible. And as I say, the government has given more money to the council to actually fix up these places. As I said, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. What do you think of mold, Andrea? What do you think of mold?
Again, I think this is another very story that, again, heartrending. This should have never happened.
No.
And he highlights again the disparity between the wealthy and the not so wealthy in our society.
No.
That they are the ones who suffer the most.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can bridge the gap sooner rather than later in our society, where we can get the not so wealthy among us living a very comfortable life. But again, very sad story with this child. Only 4 died from mold, and it shouldn't have happened.
No, it shouldn't have happened. Now, wow, yeah. Now, Jamaica. You know, let's go to Jamaica.
Absolutely.
I know. Now, Jamaica, a massive gun and ammunition has been found in Jamaica. These guns are actually being imported into Jamaica, and they found about 60 ammunition, you know what I mean, 60 rifles and a lot of ammunition. So, and they found it actually in St. James, Montego Bay. You know what I mean? They found it actually at a wharf. And as I say, the security minister, Dr. Chang, has actually said, after finding this, and this is not the only weapons they've actually found coming in the wharf or, you know, those sort of places. And as I said, the security minister, Dr. Chang, Dr. Chang, has actually said stopping this is good, and it shows those who send guns into the country has better watch out, you know what I mean, and to see that, and it's good to see when this actually happens. So that threat is sort of going down when you send guns into the country. Andre, how you doing? Guns in Jamaica.
I take that one with a pinch of salt, sir. I take that one with a pinch of
Why
salt.
is that? Why is that?
Is that one for the media? Is that one for the camera roll?
Or
is this
the security minister?
Yeah, you know, is that one that we say, yeah, we stopped that one, but then 10 more come
Exactly.
in? You get that? So again, I take it with a pinch of salt. What we need in Jamaica is whole-scale changes. Political will to make the changes that are necessary. And again, people have to be held accountable. Yeah. Again, when last year a minister going anywhere near jail for it being implicated in anything. So again, for me, I take that one with a pinch of salt.
Is that where corruption comes in then?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that, you know, what we needed to see people being held to account. Because again, yes, we stop it, but was anybody arrested? I don't know. I don't know the full story. Yeah. What I'm saying? I mean, for that to happen, you need people being involved. What we'd love to see is obviously arrests being made and probably people being sentenced. Yeah.
Because there's just too many guns that get into Jamaica, isn't there? There's too many guns into Jamaica. Absolutely. Again, very, very sad to see a small, lovely island like that being played the way it's being played with guns and ammunition. But again, as I say, it's the political will and for people to be held accountable for this. What is the hope then, Andrea? What is the hope? I know you says political change.
Over 20 years ago, whether or not I think things will change in Jamaica, their response was, yes, it probably will be, but not in their lifetime. Yeah. If we have no hope, then there's not to look for in the future. Yeah. So we have to have hope. But I think it's going to take a generation before we see some semblance of the sorts of change that we need in Jamaica. Because if you have the same people, you're going to get the same results.
Yeah. And you say that, but it's a generation because, okay, you remember we had the 70s where all those guys was running around and, you know, the politicians was involved with all those corrupt guys, you know what I mean, all the rest of it. And then we had a little break. And then after the 70s, going into the 80s, it becomes ridiculous. So that is actually probably 2 generations has gone there.
Because the people of the 80s were the children of those in the 70s.
That's right.
Bear in mind, you get what I'm saying? So what you found out are the people who came up through the political system and whole position in the 80s were people who were already aligned in the 70s. Yeah. So what was the same level of mindset and thinking just coming through the ranks. Yeah. What we need is a total shift of thinking and approach in Jamaica for us to get the sort of results that we need. Yeah. And we need a political will and a desire to change. And to be honest, I'm not so sure it exists at the moment there. So I don't know where it's gonna come from, but I'm praying that it will happen.
You need to do a lot of prayer, Andre, because I know you do that. And, I know you do that, and I can't. I actually I have to agree with you. You know what I mean? We talked to the PNP leader and president of the Jamaican National Party, Bruce Goldwyn. And we talked to him last year, and he was at the Legacy Center of Excellence, and he was here to meet the Jamaican diaspora. And everybody at the meeting, they actually get up, and they was actually having, a lot of people was to ask a question. Well, one of the main questions that was asked is how do you stop the violence in Jamaica? And he says education. Now, we all agree with education, and we say education, but sometimes it's just all talk, you know what I mean? And I say he was the PMP, Mark Golden. The PMP leader, Mark Golden.
Absolutely. And let's go back to what you said about praying. I agree with praying, and I'm praying, but there comes a point where you have to take accountability for your own lives.
Yeah.
You have to take responsibility. You have to, do what is necessary to create change. There are certain principles that one can apply to their lives to increase the probability of things changing. Mm-hmm. And it goes what I was saying, there needs a political will, a change, and people have to be held accountable.
Yeah.
As we said before, look at Jamaica, rarely you'll see people at the top of the tree going to prison, being held accountable for some of the things that obviously is going wrong in our society.
Yeah.
That's going forward. What we also want to see is education, obviously, as we said before, but also a shift in our political approach.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things that we need to do, but it has to start with people being held accountable. Yeah. And I think that is a step in the right direction.
Yeah. I agree with you, that is actually, I totally agree with you. Yeah. Don't forget.
Yeah, because
carry on.
We could be here. No, what I'm saying is the issue with Jamaica runs deep. It really runs deep. And I think we still wrestle with what happened to us, whether we like to accept it or not, what happened through slavery coming up to where we are. Yeah. There's still a mentality that lingers.
Yeah.
It's still a mentality that lingers, and it's evident in the way we approach things as a whole.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for that. Now, I got some good news for you now. Well, we mix it up, So I got some good news for you now. Two siblings who raised money to actually go to India, and they've actually found a treatment for sickle cell, and the UK government is gonna do the testing on this, So the UK government is going to start testing this back. And I say they went to India, and they found this. I would say that to where they say they actually found this cure, They stayed in India for actually 4 months, and they say the treatment was intensive, And it was serious, the treatment, and also it has a risk of complications such as organ failure. However, since returning to the UK in 2021. Both says they are able to do things that they're never able to do before. Activities they are not able to do, they're able to do that now. And things that was actually impossible for them as sickle cell sufferers, they are able to do it now. And I said, the main point of that is that the UK is actually trying to test these this treatment, bringing it to the UK and testing it and see how that goes. Because I know a lot of people who have sickle cell suffers very, very terrible, And so we hope that is a good sign, and hope all those tests that they actually do in the UK when they roll it out will be very, very beneficial. Andre?
Yeah, no, absolutely. This sounds really good. Again, did you say that are they based in the UK, these siblings?
Yeah, yes, they are based in the UK. And there's also a story. Sorry, my apologies. There's also a story that they actually tells, and they say when they was in hospital in the UK, the sort of treatment they was having, they felt like this is what they say. This is what you can look this up yourself. They said they feel like some of the stuff was, which is a terrible thing to say. They felt like there was going to be. They want one to die and the other one to live. This is what is coming out. This is coming out from their own. You can check the voice. The story is actually coming from the voice. You know what I mean? You can actually check it, and that's where you actually see it. You know what I mean? So and I say the voice has been actually helping and celebrating these two siblings back actually.
Right now this, I think this is fantastic news, especially for those who suffer from sickle cell. I know that's one of the diseases that has been around a while that a lot of people just don't know what to do with. But so this is really good news that we seem to be finding some sort of treatment that is alleviating some of the pain for those individuals who are suffering from sickle cell. So this is really, really good news.
Yeah, marvelous. Now, let me go easy now, 'cause that was a very good news. Let me go easy. Well, I don't know how much of a good news this is. Manchester United. We're talking about sports. Now, look at football. Now, Man United staff are actually, what's coming out, they're actually split on whether Mason Greenwood should carry on his career at the club. Now, Greenwood was allegedly, there was a case of attempted rape, assault, and controlling behavior. However, there was no case to answer because it was dropped and he wasn't charged and he didn't go to prison for anything at all. You know what I mean? So I say it was just alleged, and they say whoever brought the case, they dropped the case, and there was no case to be made. Now, however, some United fans actually feel that Greenwood has been at the club from he was about 7-year old. You know what I mean? So United actually has owe him a duty. You know what I mean? And they say because he hasn't been charged with anything, he hasn't gone to prison for anything, and he hasn't gone to you know what I mean? He hasn't sort of do anything wrong and been convicted of anything. He should be able to carry on with his career at Man United. Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. This one is a difficult one, though, because the allegations that were made against him were very damning.
Very serious.
Very serious allegation. And again, if there's any truth to it, we can't support that.
No, of course not.
The reports, and again, this one is now outside of the court, so I think we can, talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think that it's a case where one of the key witnesses withdrew their statement or withdrew from the case, but also there were other evidence that came to light. For me, it left a question mark over my mind, and I think it may be leaving a question mark over Manchester United and the squad.
Yeah.
Do they owe him a duty of care? Yes, but it's how they actually apply the duty of care that's in question.
Yeah. The other thing is, I mean, he hasn't been, as I say, he hasn't been charged with anything. You know what I mean? And because he hasn't been charged with anything, and the Manchester United decided they was going to investigate.
Yes.
Would you say, is there a case to be investigated? If he hasn't been charged with anything, he hasn't gone to prison for anything, is there a case to be investigated? I know this is very, very serious allegations.
Yeah, I would say yes, there is, because he's also employed to them, so they have to do their internal investigation as an employer, different from the external criminal investigation. So obviously that's finished. So now as an employer, Manchester United have to do an internal investigation and then make a decision from there. As I said, it's very, very serious, these allegations. So I think they have to do some sort of due diligence before they make steps. Having said that, yes, they owe him a duty of care, I would say, but it's how they apply. Doesn't necessarily means that he needs to come back into the squad to show duty of care. It could mean that they will support him with any sort of rebuilding that he needs personally off the field. Probably getting help or moving on, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he has to come back to the squad, to the club. But I think, yes, they need to do an internal investigation and make the next steps.
Okay. Yeah, very interesting. But
yeah, because it's very serious allegation. These, I think,
of course, it is a very, very serious allegation. It's totally. You're totally right there. Now, let me look at entertainment. I'm doing a bit of entertainment. Now, we go to the Grammy Awards. Now, Beyonce has picked up 32 Grammy Awards. Now she's made history, which is actually marvelous. And her new album out, you know what I mean? She done very, very well with that album. It's a dance album and it's a electronic album. So I say big shout out to Rihanna Entertainment. It's one of those. Beyonce has also advertised her world tour, so she'll be going on tour very, very soon. And you remember last year now? Let me say this now. You remember last year? I said to you guys, Beyonce website was down. Now when the website is down, that means they're getting the website ready to go on tour, for her to go on tour. And everything on the website was done. And I said exactly the same word. And see, I'm not going to say I was right, but I got to have some fun. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Now, let me move on to also another wonderful lady who won an award at the Grammy Awards, which was Lizzo. Lizzo won actually her very first three Grammy Awards, you know what I mean, which was actually marvelous. And she actually dedicated to the whole show to Toby Bryant, which actually, you know, we lost Toby Bryant some time ago. I think it was about probably 2 years now. The marvelous athlete, you know what I mean, and basketball player. So she actually dedicated that one to him. So I said, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now, also Kendrick Lamar. Wow, he actually wins Best Rap Album. Yes, and just he, as I say, he wins Best Rap Album. Kendrick Lamar. And Kendrick Lamar actually yeah, beat Jay-Z. Now the man you see on my screen, Jamaica. Now, reggae artist. Did I say reggae artist? Reggae artist, Kabaka Pyramid has won the best reggae album of 2023 at the Grammy Awards. And I gotta say, he stepped in front of the microphone and him say, let me talk it how him talk now. Me can't believe it. And him say, Rasta live. So, and Kabaka Pyramid comes to the UK. In fact, he comes to Birmingham in April this year. You know, he's actually doing a European tour, so it's good to see that. So as I said, he comes to Birmingham in April. Yeah, so we look out for that one. Andre, how do you love your music?
Well, I have no point of reference for these things at all, sir. So I really don't have any comment. I haven't been following the Grammys. I don't know none of those. I think apart from BNC is the only name. Okay. I'm probably. But this is not my point of reference at all. So.
Well, Kabaka Pyramid is a very good up and coming reggae artist. And what he does, he actually sing more cultural reggae music. You know what I mean? He sing more cultural reggae music. You know, like that, you know what I mean? We could say other things, you know what I mean? But he actually sings more culture reggae music. And one of the things he was actually saying before when he was nominated, he was saying that he hopes he being nominated and Jamaicans can actually come out with better lyrics, you know what I mean, in the cultural style of what some of us know, you know what I mean, instead of the lyrics that is around now. So it's good to see you actually get that award. Yeah. Now let me move on. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now, finally, the legendary Bob Marley. Actually, it was Bob Marley's birthday on the 6th of February. And he actually, if he was alive, he would have been 78. Now, to celebrate that, the Marley family, along with Tough Gong and UME, will release a 12 limited vinyl album. And the album will come out in March, which is actually marvelous. And they say the album is actually being made at Tough Gong in Jamaica, Kingston. So wait for that release in March. And I say Bob Marley was actually born in 9 Miles, Jamaica, St. Anne's. He was actually born in 1945. And he left us the 11th of May, 1981. He was only 36-year-old. Now, Andre, I know you know who Bob Marley is.
I do know who Bob Marley is. And again, when I think about Bob Marley, not just that was a talented young man, but I think a life that went far too soon. Yeah. And there's so many speculations around his death and his beliefs and that sort of thing, but nonetheless, his contribution to Jamaica and the legacy of Jamaica is undeniable. Undeniable,
yeah. And as I say, nobody knows the time, but as I say, I know you will, I know you will support me on this. Nobody knows the time, but he went too soon, isn't he?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, it's just one of those things where if what you hear about his death is true, I think it's very sad, but to each his own.
Right, Andre.
In terms of his belief system.
Right, Andre, my time is going. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to give you because I know you got a lot of things on your mind. So this is your opportunity, as the program is called What's on Your Mind. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to tell us what's on your mind.
Okay, I think you covered most of them, and I think the one from Turkey is the one that really stood out in my mind, where, for me, the first thing that I thought about is that tomorrow really isn't not guaranteed to anyone. Because these people went to their bed, I think it was early in the morning, it happened, if memory serves me right, late at night. and then the next thing they know, they weren't here at all. Yeah. For me, it's a constant reminder that every day you have to take it seriously. Every day you have to live it the best way you can. Every day you have to treat it as the last day. And I can't help but say, obviously, that people need to recognize that there's a God and that they need to turn to God, and that obviously that the Bible says it this way, that it's appointed to man once to die, and then comes the judgment. And the question we need to ask ourselves is, are we prepared to have that conversation with our Maker?
Okay.
Are we prepared? Are we prepared to have that? And so I think that's really what's on my mind, the one from Turkey, where it's just a constant reminder that tomorrow isn't really guaranteed to no one. So live your life in a way that obviously if your time comes tomorrow, you can have that conversation with your Maker in peace.
Okay. Thank you for that.
No problem.
Right. Now, there's something I actually came across a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of days ago, and this is actually circulating, and this has been circulating around. Now, and this has actually been on TikTok, and it's been everywhere. Now, Ukraine refugees has revealed they're concerned over Muslim and people of color in the UK. They've also talked of Birmingham having terrorists in Birmingham. Now, I could go very, very strong on this because this could be very, very upsetting. Now, the first thing when I hear this, I got to say, well, you people, I don't want to say you people because I don't want it to sound in any form or any sort of disrespect to anyone. But I have to say, well, haven't you got enough in your problem to worry about? You are worrying about Muslims and people of color who has lived in the UK, who this is their country, whose some of them generation came and helped to build this country and make it a better place. And you are worrying about Muslim and people of color in this country. I would say you have bigger problems to worry about. A lot of us, both Muslim, English, and people of color, has reached out to you guys, and we have put money in your charity box and help you to come to this country. Yes. So I find it very, very ironic for this is going around. The other thing as well, you talk about terrorists. Well, there's a guy who's bombing your country left, right, and center, day and night, and you cannot sleep. And he is not a Muslim, and he's not a person of color. He is of your color. So, and I say, most British people has helped you guys and has reached out to you guys and supported you guys. Now, I don't know if you got a lot of people of color in your country, because we heard a lot of stuff that was actually going around in your country that people of color was finding it very, very hard to get out because they was being discriminated against, you know. So this is our home, you know, and I'm not going to take, there's a lot of things I could say, but I'm not going to say it. And, you know what I mean, this is our home, this is where we are, and we're not going to go anywhere because this is home. England is home, you know what I mean. So you guys got to get this right, and if you're not used to it, you better start getting used to it. I would love you to comment on something like this for me, Andre.
Okay, so again, let me get this right. Who is making these comments? Sorry,
well,
I didn't get the first part.
This is being made by it has circulated in Twitter, and it has picked up in a couple of different papers. You know, it hasn't gone big because you see why it hasn't gone big. But they're actually accusing that they're saying that there's too many people of color and there's too many Muslims in this country. They raise very, very big concern.
Yeah, who is saying this though? Who is saying it?
The Ukraine, a couple of Ukraine refugees, because they've been put in, you know, like the cities where a lot of us lives in the main cities.
Oh,
so when they live in the main cities, like a lot of us live in the main cities, they are complaining that there's too many. Do you get my point?
Again, I find that one hard to believe. I really do, and I'm hoping it's not a story that's just been fabricated.
No, it is. I actually saw one young lady was being interviewed.
Oh.
I saw one the other day. It hasn't gotten a big interview, but I actually saw one little lady what was being interviewed, and she was actually saying it. They were a big concern.
Right, okay. So if I'm understanding, an immigrant is having a problem with other perceived immigrants in the same place.
Yeah, but
wow.
I wouldn't say I got a character because I wouldn't say we're immigrants because I'm not an immigrant. This is my country. This is my home.
No, I'm not talking about you because they're saying, right, okay, right, okay. This one now, it's interesting. It's interesting that somebody would say that without actually seeing the value of diversity.
Yeah.
Instead of just that people are there. I think diversity brings a level of value to any country. So I think anybody who says that is ignorant to the fact that there's such a value with diversity.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm not going to say we should ignore it, but I think, we have to be careful not to give it too much traction, depending on where it's coming from. But it's pure ignorance. Anybody who will say that is very, very ignorant because there's so much diversity, value in diversity. And it would be interesting to see what makes them feel that it's necessary to articulate that, to say there's too much, what was it, blacks or Muslims?
No, African Caribbean citizen.
Yeah. So they're saying that there are too much African Caribbean citizens.
Yes.
Yeah, but again, that's ignorant because, again, we make up half of the Commonwealth, if not more. So it stands to reason that we would be here. So again, as I say, it's boiled down, some of these conversations is boiled down to ignorance. Okay. Because if we're part of the Commonwealth, it stands to reason that there's a strong possibility that they will be here. Because the reason why we're here is because the British was there. So, the argument is baseless, really. But I would love to hear more from that lady who was saying she was concerned.
Well, they're also talking about our British-born Africans. British-born people who are born here, British-born African. British-born. The people who are born here, and they're concerned with that. Well, it's the old thing, isn't it? Come on. I've lived in this. I've something. It's the old thing anywhere you see it. Okay. You may be put into an area where where there's more of, say, African Caribbean people or Muslims, and you say you don't want to live there because we hear that. It's the real world, isn't it? It's the real world. We hear this all the time. We see this. Anybody who don't see this, they got their eyes shut. So we see this all the time. So I think that's probably that. But my point is, like, these people got bigger concerns. They've got bigger concern. That is the point I want to cross. That is the point I want to get across.
Yeah, but that's the problem. That's what I'd like to find out. If we, what's their concern? Because again, are these British-born Ukrainians, or those who came over?
No, those are those who came here. The people who came here. The immigrant, the refugee who was coming here.
Yeah, but and again, that's why I say I'm really struggling to find out why you'd come to somebody else's country and have a problem with those who live here.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. It's not making sense. If these were British-born Ukrainians, then that's a different conversation. But for those who came over as refugees, I'm struggling to see why this is even something that they would consider, as you say. They're really struggling with this one here. Why they're making that observation? What's the issue for them? Is this again symptomatic of the fact that in their country they don't see?
Well, basically, the fact is, isn't it? They don't want to live with us. You understand? Yeah. They don't want to live with us. You know what I mean?
Then they don't have this level of diversity.
No, exactly. And when you see that happen, then you got to say, well, there's some form of racism going on here, isn't there? When you divert it down to that.
Yeah, well, I think definitely we could look at it that way. But again, is it ignorance? Where again, if you're not used to seeing something like that in your own country, you go somewhere else. It's a getting used to. So I think that level of diversity.
I don't think it's a case of getting used to. You know what I mean? I left Jamaica a long time ago, right? Yeah. And before I came to the England, I see a lot of Caucasian people in Jamaica. Yes? and I've never seen any way about it. You know what I mean? It's the same. So I don't think it's because of getting used to it. I don't think it's a case of getting used to it. I don't think they want to live amongst us. I think it's a case of racism. I'm sorry, I got to call it what it is.
Okay. Well, I think when you look at the Jamaican culture and say the European Ukrainian culture, it's two different ones.
Yes.
And we could go off on a tangent on this one because in Jamaica we approach different races differently because of what has been ingrained with us for centuries.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm saying, even to this day, they still see certain races and certain group of people a certain way. While if you come to Europe and Ukraine, they will see another set of group of people differently. So I think the cultural differences play a point here.
Yeah, but Andre, Andre, I gotta say it again. I think that is just strictly racism.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. I don't see it any other way. I really don't see it any other way. It's not a case of getting to, you know what I mean? It's not a case of getting to used to any of it. I can't see any other way.
Yeah. No, I hear what you said, but I think I'm a little bit more cautious to this.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that.
Yeah, not conclusion without having all the facts, because I realize sometimes the way people are cultured and nurtured reflect on how they respond to other people. Because if you don't know any better, if you just see certain things a certain way, I think that reflects on how they react to others.
Yeah.
But for me, again, it's still, why would they even think about saying that, given that they're coming over as refugees? To me, it's not adding up in my mind.
It's not adding up.
So, no. So it's interesting. Let's see what happened after a year. If they're still here. And they integrate some more.
But they've been coming here for a while, and they say, as I say, most of us has helped. You know what I mean? So why are they concerned? Why are they concerned about? Why haven't they said it about, say, you know what I mean? Say somebody of, say, Caucasian race. They've said it about Muslims. I mean, as I said, we've been here from the year of zero. They said it about British, African, Caribbean people. They haven't said it about any other race.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a hard one to call. It's going to be interesting. So, as you say, let's see what happens. See what happens in the.
I think it's just racism still play a part in it. So I'm not going to take it back. I think racism does play a part in that. I'm not the easiest one to call it racism, but I think racism plays a part in that. Definitely. Yeah. Why would you have concern? And my quick summing from this: there's so much going on in your country. Why you just come out and say you have concern about, you know what I mean? I still can't get away from the point. Why are you coming out and concerned? You're concerned about some Muslim and some British, African, Caribbean people who are born here, who's been here from day one, you know what I mean, and helping the country. And a lot of our descendants actually comes from the Caribbean, helped to build this country. When Britain wanted after the war, after World War II, Britain wanted, even before World War II, but Britain wanted people to help to build this country because as well as British, African, Caribbean people, people from the Commonwealth that actually went to the war, basically English, what you call English man and women, as is quoted in a book, English man and woman didn't die in the war to come home to go back and work into the factory. So Britain need all these people to come and work in their factory to help build the country. So
and again, this is as you say, the comments are coming from Ukrainian refugees. So again, I don't know if there's a level of ignorance there that they're not sure of the history. Again, it's a hard one to call this one.
And we've also seen in the news in the past, I don't know if you're aware of that, we also see it in the news in the past where Ukrainian was actually treating Africans very, very bad. I know he's going to say it's a war in Ukraine, and they was having problems getting out. There's a nurse that comes to London that actually says she had a nightmare just trying to get out of Ukraine.
Yeah.
Now, you don't hear this in the big news because everything else overshadowed this, you know what I mean? But we've heard this. We've seen this in the papers. You know what I mean? We see this.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens in a year's time. Hopefully the war in the Ukraine will finish by then and just see what happens and see how this plays out.
And even a lot of the African countries, have actually complained to the Ukraine government, and asking them why they treat Africans so bad in Ukraine.
Okay. Yeah, interesting.
I hope I haven't put you on the spot, but it's what's on your mind.
Absolutely no, but I know. As I said before, my position is that really, I take your point,
Yeah.
but I think there's a level of ignorance sometimes to how people act and behave. And, I think sometimes if people are cultured a certain way, how they're grown up, what they've been exposed to, what they've seen around them, I think that plays a part in how they respond to other cultures, other people. Unconscious bias, what they see in their media, all of that plays into it. But again, as you rightfully said, for me, I just can't see why they would have a comment to make.
But that is not sort of excuse in this world, you know what I mean? It's not the sort of excuse in this world at all. I mean, you can't. The other thing you see, the other thing is, which is very good, which I like to say, but I'm going to join this. The other thing you see, you cannot say racism or use any excuse for racism. You see what I'm saying? You can't use any. You can't say it's ignorance. I can't put it down to that. You see what I'm saying?
I'm not saying there's ignorance for racism. What I'm saying is you have to be careful how you label something racism until it's explicit. If somebody doesn't say to you, Carl, I don't like you because you're black, that to me is explicit racism. But if, say, for instance, I walk past you on the street and then talk to my Caucasian counterpart, it may not be racism. This is what I'm saying. Sometimes it is what is at play is not necessarily racism until it's explicit. That's just my viewpoint. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So I'm learning more and more that there's some ignorance at play, unconscious bias, and just what the stereotype that people play into. Yeah. Where it may not necessarily mean it's racism at play. But when it's explicit.
But why would you say then she doesn't want to live where Muslims
I didn't hear that.
British. She doesn't want to live where Muslims, British-born African Caribbean people live.
Okay, I didn't hear that. I thought she just made an observation that there are quite a few here.
No, she doesn't want to live there.
Well, again, I don't know. That sounds a bit funny to me. Why she would say that? But yeah. Interesting one.
Interesting, I know. Wow. Let me move on. Now, my final thing I wanna talk about because you see the African American police officer, and my time is running quickly. The African American police officer who actually killed the African American. Now, I gotta say, if and I've looked into a couple of papers, if if Tyree Nichols was Caucasian, would a couple of African American do that to him? Could you see it? Because I've never seen it happen in my whole lifetime. So is there a certain amount of racism going on there? I know people's gonna say because he's African American and an African American killed another African American, it can't be racism. This court has to go to court. I must say that. I know people are gonna say because he's an African American and an African American he's killed, he can't be racism. But is it racism that is actually spilled down from the system that actually helps to cause this?
So again, this one is another difficult one for me also, because based on what I've seen in the media, so many questions left in my mind. Why did they attack this young man the way they did? All 5 of them. Because there's nothing that indicated that this guy deserved this. I've seen a couple of reports, and there's nothing he did. So what was the trigger? What caused them to really go off on him? Again, I don't know. How do we call racism on this one? It's hard. It's hard. Is it racism, or is it that they had some beef that we're not aware of?
Or is it something that they've learned in the system and trickled down to the system from their, their organization?
But that opened up another can of worms now, because why would a group of black people allow the system to tell them to turn on each other?
Oh, come on, come on, come
no,
on.
But this is what I'm saying. But at what point do we take responsibility for our actions?
Exactly, but we don't do so. A lot of us don't.
And that's what I'm saying. So that's why we have to be careful how we call out racism.
And I asked you then. And the other thing, which my first question was, my time is running. Which my first question was, if Tyree Nicholas was a Caucasian officer, would 5 African American do this to him? Or is it because a lack of respect? I know you say probably there's a beef going there. Or is it because of a lack of respect they have for somebody of their own color?
Yeah, but and then what's that? That's not racism, though. Is that racism if you have a lack of respect for your own color?
No, but I'm saying, and you still have an answer. I'm going to close it in a minute. You still have an answer me. If
no. Well, the thing is, what I've heard in the reports is that these guys have done it to other people.
Okay.
They've done it to other people, and they've also reported it, and they keep on doing it.
Okay.
But I don't know if those other people were Caucasian. It just happened that this guy died because they've beaten, they've jumped on other people. They've been doing this for a while. They've been reported, and nothing came of it. So what I don't know if any of the other victims, I'm not sure. We can always research and come back, and then we can have another discussion. But they have done it before. This wasn't the first time. It just happens that in this occasion, the guy actually died. So that's why this now came to the fore, and this squad now was then arrested. For me, though, what seemed to be interesting was how quickly these guys were fired and brought before the courts. That is the thing that really stood out in my mind.
Andre, great. Thank you. Let me say thank you. We're gonna have to bring you back on the show.
Absolutely, I'm glad to be here. Love to come back.
Yeah, say good afternoon to you, good night to your family, your wonderful family. Big shout out to you, Donna, and all your wonderful children. Big shout out to you. And let me say thank you, sir, for appearing on our show. And massive, it's been one of those ones. Look after yourself. God bless you. Maximum respect and thank you. Yeah.
Take care.
Okay.
God bless you.
Big shout out to you. Right, there you have it, guys. Let me say thank you for tuning in to Breakthrough TV. I am Carl. You see how it can get started. That was actually great fun, you know what I mean? And sometimes you have to do this, which was actually marvelous. Let me say thanks to Andre Nelson. Brother, thank you, sir. Errol, big shout out to you. The McLeod family, big shout out to you. Let me say thank you for tuning into Breakthrough TV. Sorry about the little bit of delay that we have, but sometimes that happens, you know what I mean? Big shout out to you. And don't forget you can go back and tune in. I've run out of time now. Don't forget you can go back and tune into all our programs, you know what I mean? What's on your mind? We are up to week 93. This is week 93. And so check out those programs we actually did at the Simmerdown Festival and the Birmingham 0121 Festival, you know what I mean? A lot of artists we actually interview, you know what I mean? Third World, you know what I mean? So many different artists. Freddie McGregor, Yellowman. I talked to Yellowman. Aswad. So many different people we talked to in all the different shows. Go and check those shows out, you know what I mean? Also, go and check out a program called What's on Your Mind. This is What's on Your Mind. Don't forget go and check out the Car with a C show. That was one of the shows we actually started very, very early in the early days. But because of the COVID and we couldn't sort of bring people in the studio, we actually put that show on hold. But we're going back to that show very, very soon. And it's a program about the Car with a C show. Thank you. I want to say thank you, Mr. Producer. You work very hard again. God bless you. We'll be back here next week with another What's on Your Mind. We say once again, sorry for the delay. My time is here. God bless you.